If you ain't a Gator, you must be Gator bait. If you ain't a Gator, you must be Gator bait.
Welcome back and welcome in to another episode of If You Ain't a Gator podcast, part of the Stadium and Gale Network. We apologize for not being here last week. You know, life gets busy. Both of us had birthdays in the month of February. Double gold. Bro, I love it. The way that both of those games ended, just touching on those real quick, is mind-blowing. Like, I was like getting hyped. I was like, I don't know, crazy. It's kind of your fault. Like, my cousin got me into hockey, and then now you're getting me even more into it. And I'm like, great.
Yeah, it was also that was a great way to cap off the Olympics. Putting Canada in a locker, the win, and especially the way that they did it in such dramatic fashion, and for the women's team as well to get the gold, that was huge.
Yeah, I love it, bro. Absolutely love it. Fun to watch. If you don't watch hockey, just sit down and try to watch it. It's fast-paced, fun to watch. But we got a lot to talk about today. We got some jersey talk. We have Texas wants to be us so bad that they're going and hiring some of our coaches, you know, trying to take some of our players. I don't know what they're thinking, but it is what it is. You know, we were a 4-win team last year, so if that diminishes Texas, cool. We're going to talk basketball. We got some possible coaches in the SEC getting fired, recruiting talk, and more. We got a lot to talk about today. So kick back, hang out with us, go get your coffee, go get your breakfast, you know, sit back and let's hang out. But we'll start off with the jersey talk. Coach Summerall was on High Top Sports. Shout out to the fellas over at High Top. And he made a comment, and I'm going to let you touch on it. I want your opinion of what you heard, and then I'm going to give my opinion on what I feel about it. But I'm going to let you take the reins first.
I mean, so for me, you know, I'm probably one of the ones in the rare camp where I actually like the black jerseys.
Yeah.
And I do think we have probably some of the top 5 best throwbacks. You know, the one here on my left with the old Florida F, and you know the blue jerseys with the white and orange stripe going up, you know, vertically down. I love the old jerseys. I love that throwback look. And so for me, you know, if Coach, you know, I don't think he doesn't need to go and create a bunch of new alternatives. Like Florida has a rich history of throwbacks and alternative uniforms. So, you know, if he wants to throw in the all orange look, which I love, you know, or if he wants to, for a night game, you know, maybe against Auburn or somebody, wear, you know, one of those all black jerseys. I think that matches the attitude that he has, and that this team will have. And so I'm personally a fan of them. I've got a jersey that my wife got me for Christmas, and I love it. But obviously, you know, I don't want to see them like in Oregon wearing different jerseys every week. But at the end of the day, like, jerseys are great. I just want to win on the field. I don't really care what they wear.
Yeah, so my take on this, and if you just pay attention overall, when recruits are coming in, transfer recruits or high school recruits, they're all taking pictures in 3 different jerseys. Yeah. It's either the black one, the white one, or the orange one. And what's crazy to me is throughout Billy's whole tenure, we never saw the orange jerseys. I'm biased towards them. They're my favorite jerseys. I love the orange, especially the all orange jersey, orange pants, orange top. Yeah, I love it. But regardless of how I feel about it, I'm not putting it on Saturdays. I get to pick which jersey I want to wear. I got a couple of different colors, but you listen to the athletes and you see the athletes, they're all picking those colors. And I think there's a very, very strong backing to look good, feel good, play good. 100%. And I'm not saying wear the all black every single week, but hey, you got Oklahoma coming to town. Throw on them all blacks. Throw on those all black jerseys and let's get rocking. You know, you got just these different games are coming up. Why aren't we rocking? I heard Billy say it and John Summerall said it too, both of them. I love Florida's traditional jerseys. Well, you can't get any more traditional than orange tops. You can't. That was the original. That was the OG, is the orange. So I would like to see that in the mix. But like you said, if wins are coming, I don't care what we're rocking on the field. But I do think that there's a strong backing to what they wear. If these players get to rock that all black, I think there's a different energy that comes flowing, you know.
Yeah, to me, I don't see any downside. Like if recruits, and they do. You're right. Like recruits love the blacks. They love those black jerseys. They love the all black combo, kind of the blackout look. And if they're wearing that in recruiting, then I don't see any downside to when we have a big recruiting weekend at a home game or it's homecoming or something like that, and they say, hey, the recruits love it. We want to be able to have them. They just wore it for maybe some media, stuff that they just did. They took some photos on their visit. Why not roll out at a night game in the swamp in the all black? Like, if that makes the recruits happier and gets them hyped up, like that's a win-win in my book, because I like the look, and if the recruits like the look, like then more power to them.
Right. Yeah, I feel the same way.
Just don't wear those horrible green and black alligator skin print ones ever again.
Low key, listen.
Those were the worst uniforms of all time.
I have a goal, and I saw like that there's a guy that sells vintage clothes on Twitter, and he had a few of them, but I want one. I want one so bad. I know I didn't like it the full fit, and I think it's because we lost in it, things like that. But I like the jersey. I think the jersey is like, if I will rock it with like a pair of shorts, whatever. Personally, I like it, but I don't want us to wear them on the field ever again. But it's, again, I think that there's little things like that. I think that it creates a different, I think that's why Oregon does kind of have a little bit of juice to them, because they put on these, like, and again, like you said, I don't want us rocking.
They eat that stuff up.
Yeah, don't rock crazy stuff every week. Rock the big game blues, rock those different things, but you got to add in that mix of stuff, because I think it creates an energy that's like when you're hitting like a mid-season slump, throw them black jerseys out there and let's get to rocking. Like, again, rock the all whites. You go to Auburn, you can rock the all whites. Bring out the icy whites and let them go. But talking about teams we're playing, things like that, we know we got Texas on the schedule. And when we go to Texas this year, there's going to be a couple of familiar faces on this other sideline. We know that Jaluk is there, but Texas has just recently hired Billy G. I want you to give me your take on Billy G and how you feel about him going to Texas. Again, I just like the jerseys. I have a personal opinion, but I think I
like the Billy G hire for Texas more than I liked the Jaluk hire. I mean, I think Jaluk's a great coach too, but Billy G is the man. He's got a great reputation, and for Texas to pick him up as an offensive analyst, like that's a huge win for them. And I wish nothing but the best for Billy G. I mean, he's a Gator through and through. So no love lost there. Maybe if he'd gone to Florida State or Georgia, I'd feel a little differently, but going to Texas, I think it's a great opportunity for him, and I think he's a hell of a coach and a hell of a recruiter. So I think Texas was smart, and Sark's not a dummy. He knows good coaches when he finds them. And thankfully hiring Billy G didn't maybe they were trying to use him as a pawn like they used Jaluk to get maybe they're trying to get Dallas Wilson like they were trying to get Jaden Ball, but it didn't work. They're still on the team. So, hey, I wish Billy nothing but the best. And I hope they lose every game, when they're not, hope they win every game and lose to us.
Yep. Yeah. See, here's my thing with Billy G. And I know I'm going to say this, I'm going to catch a lot of hate, and I hear what you say, but me personally, I don't see him elevating these receivers to being this like crazy talent. Like, I don't think that he elevated Ricky Pearsall. I think that Ricky Pearsall landed in I think that he got lucky with San Francisco liking him, but I think other than that, I think he would have fell to the second round. I mean, I think he creates good receivers, but I don't know that he elevates them to a next level of like, where it's like, you got these guys going first round. And I'm talking about guys that are 3 stars and stuff that are elevating. That's me personally. So in all reality, with Texas probably going to be on our schedule, obviously moving forward, I'm cool with him being there, because I'm like, maybe their receivers won't elevate to a next level, won't go to Ohio State level. You got your Brian Hartlines that he elevates them.
I mean, he's in a class of his own for sure, but I think Billy's in that second class right below a Hartline type guy. I mean, look at what he did with Pearsall, like we did with Badger, Chimere DK. I mean, he's definitely taken guys that were overlooked and maybe not the big flashy 5-star names. And I think he's done well to get the most out of them.
Yeah.
I think last year with the receivers we had, they didn't do as well, but that was mainly because of the quarterback situation that we had. I think Billy did a pretty good job of getting those guys ready to play. And I mean, look at what he did with Vernell Brown in Dallas. I mean, as freshmen, when Dallas was healthy, but Vernell, I mean, a lot of that's God-given talent. He's a 5-star, but going from the high school level to the college level, especially in the SEC and playing as a freshman, I think Billy G's a really good coach.
Yeah. And listen, I guess to each his own. Me personally, I like the idea that, like, I get it. It's very easy for us to fall into that. Like, this is a Gator. Like, we should have kept Billy G. Like, we should have kept him here. He's a Gator through and through. But all of it kind of played its parts. And so I like the idea of starting fresh. I like the idea of him being, at Texas, and that's someone that we're going to be playing. So if it, however it plays itself out. But again, I'm not mad at it. Like you said, I'm not mad at Billy G. Shout out to him. 2 coaches? Actually, I guess you could say 3 because Chapman was retained by Florida, but 2 coaches left, and that were, I'd say Texas right now is a better job right now. Like, it's just they've been more relevant lately.
Well, yeah, but I mean, again, he's going as an offensive analyst. I think if Florida said, "Hey, we want you to, we're not going to hire, we're not going to go out there and get Marcus Davis. We're going to keep you as the wide receiver coach." I think he stays at Florida, and I would have loved to have him stay at Florida. But yeah, if you're looking at offensive analyst job, either that title slot, if he said, "Hey, offensive analyst at Florida or offensive analyst at Texas," Texas is probably ahead by a little bit, sure. But I think him, Jaluk, and Chapman were the 3 Gator kind of coaches from the old staff that most fans, realized pretty early on, hey, if these guys get retained, I'm not going to be mad about it.
Right.
And I think that's where the proof's in the pudding, right? Because you see what Billy G's resume is with what he did with Dallas and Vernell and bringing in a lot of those transfers. Because really, the transfer portal, I mean, our biggest wins and our most consistent gets in the portal were at receiver. And whether that was their talent coming in or the coaching, both of them kind of fall on Billy G as far as, identifying that talent, recruiting it, and then developing it. So I think Texas got a great pickup with Billy G, and I'm happy he, didn't go to a much smaller conference, stay in the SEC. Even if it's in an analyst job, I think in a year or 2, he either gets promoted or he'll go somewhere else.
And I'm sure he'll have his hand in the mix with the receivers over there. I think that's just his specialty. But I guess, and I get it. I get the recruiting, but there's a couple of things. I mean, the Dallas Wilson situation, why he left Oregon. I mean, he inevitably picked Oregon and then, ended up coming back. And he could have picked Florida State or Miami, but he ended up picking us. So that's cool. And VB3, I'm like, that man, he's got orange and blue
legacy. But even outside of those 2, I mean, we always had really good receiver classes. Like, Billy G's a great recruiter. We were always in the mix for pretty big guys. And then unfortunately, like an Xavier Philosime, some of those other guys, we lost out to a lot of times to Texas because we didn't put a product on the field that drew those guys there. They loved Billy G.
Yeah.
Is the way I viewed it.
I think, like I said, I have no love lost for Billy G. I mean, Billy G stepped in and he coached us to a win against Florida State at the end of last season, and that's all I can ask for. I said it on the show right around that time. I said, hey, if we don't win another game this season, I can pick one, beat Florida State. That's the one I want. Just beat those guys. And so shout out to him. He's forever in my good graces, but I am glad that we're trying something new. We got someone young in there, someone who knows the state of Florida.
Marcus Davis is a legend, and he's also a great recruiter and a younger coach. And that's where the trend's going. A lot of teams now are hiring younger guys because they can relate to the players better. And, not that Billy G couldn't, but he's a little bit older, right? He's got that knowledge and experience, but he hasn't, he didn't come from South Florida and play in the SEC and coach in the SEC and all of those type of things that that just it relates when you're a younger guy. You can relate to these 18-year-old, 17-year-old guys you're recruiting versus a 40, 50-year-old guy. I think that's why you're seeing all those coaching staffs now get a lot younger.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see, like I said, how it goes. I may end up, end of next season, like, yo, bring Billy G back now. I hope not. But touching on Texas, moving forward, our basketball team secured a win against the University of Texas this week. I feel like I'll just give my opinion and then I'll let you run with it. I feel like this team, the one thing that they match with last year's team is that they are a second half team. 100%. They go back there and Todd and the boys, they dial it up. They figure it out. They figure out how can we rotate in the second half and get it together. And I mean, Florida never goes away. I think that's the biggest thing. They're going to stay, even if you're in the game, like Florida's right there. And if you let off that gas a little bit, Florida, they're gone. Like they're going to blow past you. So the biggest thing, and now I've just come to terms with it. I haven't wanted to come to terms with it, and I haven't said this to you yet. I wanted to give it to you, tell you this first on the show, but I am tired of Xavier Lee. I am sick of
what I've been telling you all year.
Dude, it's so annoying. Him and even Boogie. Like, I think Boogie needs to realize that it's like, bro, you may have watched for his childhood years. You may have watched Steph Curry, and you may want to shoot threes like Steph Curry, but big dog, you can't do it. Stick with your mid-range, stick with driving, and stick with defense. And it is going to be your bread and butter, and it is going to get you into the league faster than if you're just shooting up threes and you're bricking the whole time. You're going to make it happen, but you're not Steph Curry, and you're not going to replace a Walt of last year. So this money that you're making, you need to figure out what you're good at, and you need to make that money worth it and stick to that because that's how you win ball games. It's like if you want to hoist a trophy at the end of the season, go do it. Play in your lane. Same with Xavier Lee. And the one thing I need is those two to stop being on the court at the same time because it's the fastest way to me stroking out at this point or just passing away on my couch because I'm so sick of seeing them both. But we're still getting it done somehow. Number 7 in the country now.
Helps when you have the best front court in the country.
Yeah. And shout out to Chinulu again. I will say it. He has his ups and downs, but for the most part, that boy is a Gator. But yeah, give me your opinion. Just let me know how you're feeling. I know how you feel about Lee, but
yeah, I mean, with Boogie, I mean, his shooting hasn't been. It's been hot and cold. It hasn't been consistent all year, but at least he's a really good lockdown defender for the most part. Lee, outside of a few games like the Kentucky game, he was, pretty good at. Georgia, he played well, but really the last 3 games, I mean, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Texas, 9 to 12 points. He actually shot the 3 at Texas pretty well, and he got a couple in the second half when we really needed him to, thankfully. But like you said, looking at it bigger picture, this team does remind me a lot of last year's team. Like you said, second half comes around, it's usually tight around at the end of the first half, and then the second half comes, and they just keep doing what they're doing. Todd's making adjustments clearly because teams are throwing everything they have at them, and there will be a tight lead for a little bit, and then somewhere in that 15, 20 minute or 15, 10 minutes left in the second half, the Gators just go on a roll. They play that lockdown defense. They finally figure it out, and then they just start scoring. And so, that Texas game, I was a little worried there going into halftime. And then, man, by the end of the second half, you were like, we won by 13 points or like that. This looked like a completely different team the last 10, 15 minutes of the game. But they did the same thing with Kentucky too. Kentucky hung around for a while, and then just eventually we just wore them down. Mm-hmm. And I think that comes down to the size and the strength that we have on the front court. When you can out rebound teams, and on the offensive and defensive side, that's going to be a winning formula for you. But yeah, I mean, we still need to hit those. We still need to find somebody that can hit those 3 other than Urban. I mean, Urban's been unbelievable. He might be my favorite guard that we have on the team right now. But as long as Kondo continues to put up 20-point games,
Yeah.
And, Hal, when we need him to, comes up and makes a good play. This team still has some things to figure out, I think, if they want to, return to the Elite Eight in the Final Four. But they're playing good basketball right now. And I think part of that, I do think that this schedule's the SEC is a lot easier this year than it was in previous years. So I don't think winning the SEC regular season title, the SEC tournament, is as tough of a road as it has been in the past. But I do think, the Gators are probably, as long as they continue to do what they've been doing, they're going to probably end up with the number 2 seed, win the SEC tournament. And, maybe if the teams that are in the 1 seeds or 2 seeds maybe fall off and lose, you might see Florida sneak up maybe. But, with the tough schedule we had in the beginning of the year and the losses we have, we're probably slated for a 2 seed, if not the 1st seed of the 3s. And so, they're gearing up for March Madness. But I think the one big thing you need in March Madness is you need to be able to shoot the 3 when you need it. And that still remains to be something that they're working on outside of Irving. I got nothing bad to say about Irving.
Opinion, but I feel like if we didn't have Lee and we had Aberdeen on this team, I feel like we'd be in an even better position.
Yeah.
I think that was a mistake.
Yeah. If we had Boogie and Denzel, I think that would be a pretty nasty duo. But I do think you're right. Like, I think when Boogie or Lee are matched up with Urban, it's just a different vibe on the court versus when you've got Lee and Boogie together. And that's the thing, is like, you've seen that in the second half. They've had to rotate the guys, right, because of either tired legs or foul trouble. And so we've seen some Isaiah Browns and Urban in there mixed in with Lee and Boogie, and that's really when they've been dominant. We've kept the same starting 5, pretty much every game this season. But it'll be interesting to see maybe when we get into March if, Todd's got a wrinkle or 2 that he's kind of holding back in his back pocket until we get into the tournament. So we'll see.
Yeah. I feel like with this team, again, the Aberdeen thing, but I feel like he would make us much better. But again, I think this team is figuring it out, and it sucks because they are starting to gel together. And then what's crazy is, right, and we don't even think about this, is that it wasn't like the team with Walt and Will Richards and them. It's not like their first year together, they had it just all dialed in and figured out. They had to gel and they had to get it together. And I think this team is getting it together quicker than they did. I hope we don't have an exit like we did with Walt. But I think they're getting it together. And I think we're going to find out really what this team is made of this Saturday. We got a huge game, college game day. Basketball's college game day is coming to town. Florida versus Arkansas, night game. The Rowdy Reptiles are going to be.
I saw students were already camping out last night, which is just insane.
Insane, bro. Insane. But I love it, dude. Like, I really do. Like, I absolutely love it. I like to see these students hyped up for it in a big game. And, it's kind of crazy because it's like, I would have expected the Florida-Kentucky game to be like a top 10 matchup. It's like Kentucky's fallen off, but we'll see what the team is made of this year.
I think we closed the season out against Kentucky, so it'll be one more test before the SEC tournament, play them again. And then we've the biggest game on our schedule left is obviously Arkansas with Calipari. So got to get a big win on Saturday at 8:30.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. That's going to be a fun one. I just like what this team's doing, man. They're making it fun. They're making off-season football fun. I mean, I know we're a football show, but they're making it fun to watch. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the SEC tourney. I'm excited for March Madness, and just to see what these boys can do and how Coach Todd can coach these boys up. But speaking of basketball, and a former Gator that caused us a lot of stress and probably why I have some gray hair, Mike Whitt might be looking for a new job here very soon. Give me what do you think about that? Because I love it. Like, I mean, we probably would still have him if it wasn't for him dipping, thanks to Scott Strickland, we probably still have him.
I mean, yeah, what a different world we'd live in if we still had Mike Whitt. I mean, he was the reason I turned off Gator basketball for a few years because it was the most frustrating period that I've ever seen in basketball, especially coming after Billy Donovan, like huge shoes to fill. But that guy just was the choke artist of the year every year, in and out. So, when it happened, Todd Golden was a bit of a no-name, and people were a little bit shocked. But I think we won that deal. We won that deal for sure. I'll take that 11 out of 10 times all day, every day. But seeing him potentially, they're meeting with the board of trustees to maybe figure out if they're going to fire him or not, doesn't shock me, because, in this day and age, with the portal, if you get a good coach, you can go and really kind of do anything you want, because the blue bloods have kind of died now in a way, right? The players aren't just picking Kentucky and Duke for a year. They're going all over the map because of NIL. And so you've got to have a really good coach who can, deal, especially in basketball, right? If you get a great star player, you're only going to have him for a year, maybe two. And so you've got to have a really, really strong coach. And I don't think Mike White belongs in the SEC.
No, and it's the same way I feel like it's the Billy Napier. It's you got certain guys that they just don't cut it there. They aren't going to cut it. They never will cut it. And that's fine. And it's frustrating, because I feel like, seriously, I feel like Mike White would still be our head coach.
Yeah.
And we would absolutely hate the offseason of football, because we'd have nothing to look forward to, if it, because of Scott. But I love it. Like you said, I don't like Mike White. Anything that happens to him dipping to Georgia, that's just like that, or Florida State. It's just like a kick in the face. And it's like, bro.
You're right, though. He was the Billy Napier of basketball.
1,000%, bro. 1,000%. But as it said in the comments, good hiring, good coaches. Moving forward, John Summerall has made some good coaching hires. He's a great coaching hire, it seems like, so far. And they are crushing it in recruiting. I am dead serious. I don't know that these boys sleep. Any of them. Like, I'm pretty sure that every single one of them just are constantly just energy drinks, just go, 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 go. And I don't know how they do it. But talk about recruiting. Give me your break. We got to commit. That's pretty sick. We're in 5 stars like Maxwell Hill. We're in their top list. We got I'm looking at this, and I don't even want anyone to come close to me. Like, don't pinch me. I don't want to wake up. Don't pinch me. I do not want to wake up. I want to keep this rolling. But to even, I know it sounds silly, and I know other places like a Georgia or Ohio State would laugh at us, but I'm like, to see us in this mix, and John Summerall and co, they haven't even did a snap on the football field yet, and we're already in the mix. In the mix.
That's what I've been saying. If we start winning, I mean, the recruiting is going to pop off on a level that I don't think Florida fans have seen since the Urban Meyer days. Maxwell Hiller, number 3 ranked recruit overall, number 1 interior offensive lineman, big kid. We were not anywhere in his top 10. Troutwine comes there. We move into the top 5. Then he has a visit, I think 3 weeks. I think a couple weeks later we get, hey, they're in our top 3. And then I saw him on a podcast. I think it was yesterday. I think it was 247's podcast. And he said, look, Florida is probably my number 1 now. And Alabama, and I think it was Tennessee are probably, somewhere around 2 and 3 together, respectively. I mean, what Phil Troutwine's done in 2 months, really, I mean, it's just been spectacular. You've got Maxwell Hiller, who's the number 1 interior offensive lineman. They just put out some articles on Albert Simeon, who's the number 2 interior offensive lineman. He just set a visit with Florida, I think in March. Like we've said before on the show, Phil, I don't think has spent a day in Gainesville. At his house or his apartment, the boxes are still all his stuff's still in the boxes. He has not been there. He has been on the road or at the facility, and he's just been on an absolute tear recruiting wise. He's got us in the mix for, I think now this with Albert Simeon, I think there's 4 or 5 stars that are, at least heavily considering, committing to the Gators now on the offensive line, whereas we haven't had a 5-star offensive lineman, a true recruiting pickup, I think, since 2014, 2017. And this is without, any record on the field. Like,
Yeah.
this is just coming off of Troutline's reputation and his energy and his coaching staff's energy. It's incredible. And I'm really excited to see if we can translate all of this energy to wins on the field, what our recruiting will look like. And can we get back to being, the number one, the it school in the state of Florida for not only Florida state recruits, but nationally as well.
Yeah. Dude, it's insane. Like it really is mind blowing to just look at this as a whole. Like again, it's like, don't pinch me. I don't want to wake up. This is crazy with just what's going on at UF right now. Basketball's fun. Baseball is fun. Football seems like it's going to be fun again. We got a coach with energy. Every single interview that I've seen him on, High Tops, Alley Peaks, Gator Dave, even the ones that they're not Gator shows. They're just your ESPNs or whatever. Like, just to hear his energy, I'm like, you can see it. You can see it in his eyes. You can hear it that he's good to go. Like, he wants to win, and he wants to win now. Like Gator Spike said, softball, balling. Like, it is fun for Florida athletics right now. And that's the big thing for me is I'm like, man, I love this. That's all we want. We just want to be in the mix. Like, I'm not looking at John Summerall and saying, yo, win year one. But it all speaks for itself. All of it. It shows you when somebody means what they're saying is that, and again, Coach Trout being here is, I'm like, Billy, unless you are that egotistical, there's no way that you look at what's going on over here and like, oh, I couldn't even sniff a 5-star offensive lineman, and then
2 O-line coaches, and we couldn't sniff a 5-star.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, y'all couldn't put your brains together and figure out how to get one? And I'm like, we ain't even played a snap yet, and we're in the number one interior offensive lineman's top list. And then most likely I'm gonna go out and put it on record. I will bet he's a Florida Gator. I will bet he's a Florida Gator. I bet he commits to Coach Trout, and I will guarantee if we start winning, he'll definitely commit and quick. But it's just mind-blowing how great this staff is recruiting, and to know that we're getting these offensive weapons, and then we have a mastermind like Buster Faulkner back there.
Well, and especially too because they've talked about it on High Top as well. Like, hey, 5 stars, are they worth it, right? They want to play right away, or they're going to transfer. And really, everybody's, after thinking about it, there's probably one position group where 5 stars stay and tend to stay for the entirety of their college career, and that's offensive line.
Yep.
Right. So, hey, do we want to get a 5-star quarterback? Yeah. I mean, if he's not going to leave after a year or two because somebody else comes in from the portal or they don't win out the job, but offensive linemen for the most part tend to stick. And so if we're going to spend a bunch of money to go get top quality guys, and it's the offensive linemen that are going to stay here and develop under Troutline and not leave after a year or two because they want to see the field, then I'm all for it. Because if we go and get big guys in the trenches from high school, develop them, let them grow, when when Jaden Ball leaves, or you have a quarterback that leaves, and you're in the portal, and those quarterbacks or running backs or wide receivers are going, hey, who's got the best offensive line, right? If I'm a running back, who am I going to be able to run behind? Who's going to be out there in front blocking for me? And you go, hey, man, the Gators, they've just got a stacked room of 4 and 5-star guys that they've developed, homegrown talent type scenario. It's going to be a lot easier to pull a top running back or a quarterback out of the portal when he knows that he's got, 5 stars or 4 stars all over the offensive line at left tackle, right tackle, center, blocking for him.
Yeah, man. I love it, dude. I really do. I love everything about what Coach Summerall is doing. I've said it time and time again. We all know what we wanted, but I think we got what we needed. I think we got a guy who is a no BS type of guy, and he is just head on, just rolling. It is insane. I love it. Like, I really do love every second of what I'm seeing. And I'm like, dude, you can't let me down. At this point, like what you're doing in this offseason, the offseason of year one, you ain't even had a snap in regular season yet. You ain't even had a snap in the orange and blue game yet. And I'm already hyped up. And I'm like, because I told myself he got hired. I was like, all right, I ain't lying. I'm gonna stay truthful, and I'm gonna stick, to my guns here. And no one's gonna be able to play back that the podcast and be like, oh, well, you said this and that. And I'm like, dang it, Coach. You got me. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna lie, and it might come to be a truth, but I'm probably gonna lie. But yeah, man, I just absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Let's see. JB, you are welcome to come on my summer interview series. I'll be interviewing Tyler Alexander and Jackson Ballinger, just to name 2 of the 10 so far. Bro, number one, I appreciate this. The $10, man. Truly, I appreciate it. And yeah. You got my phone number, bro. Text me. Let's set it up, and I'll come on 100%. All you got to do is just text me, man. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Sticking with the offensive side of the ball, we've got our second commit, our first offensive commit under John Summerall.
Yep.
Tight end, 3-star, borderline 4-star Jackson Ballinger. Kid's got the size. His tape looks good. Evan McKissick's first big recruit. And this is a room that has plagued Florida really ever since Kyle Pitts left.
Mm-hmm.
And we have yet to find a steady pass-catching tight end. And I love to see them, again, 3-star, 4-star, doesn't matter to me. If you've got the right coaching in there and you can identify and develop that talent. But this kid's got the size and measurables that you're looking for.
Bro, there's 2 sets of people who remember what a athlete's stars were when they get on campus. Only 2. It's fans and commentators, and that's it. And it's only because the commentators love to, especially if they're lower. They're former 2-star, and look at him now. Like, he transferred in from Joe Bob University, and now look at him. He's balling out. And it's like, we're the only ones. These guys get on campus, and that goes away. It all goes away. I don't care what you are. Most people, they forgot what Jaden Ball was. Jaden Ball was a 3-star, and now look, this offseason. Yeah, bro, it's mind blowing. And I'm like, and now we got coaches flying to his house on Christmas Eve trying to keep him. Like, it's insane, man, insane. But again, I'm just glad to see people getting on board. We're getting them in the bucket there, getting people wanting to come play. And I just want to see who's next. Let's get a couple of the big dogs.
I think if we're talking about who could be next, who could probably, wouldn't shock me if maybe it's a spring game announcement. I think there will probably be a couple at the spring game. If I'm being honest, I think that's the tea leaves that I'm reading. It looks to be like the spring game is going to be a very big day, not only to watch some Gator football and hang out with fans, but I think we're going to maybe get some announcements there. But 4-star edge, Frederick Arns, the number 80th overall prospect, 11th edge out of Orlando Jones High School. This kid, very early on, it seemed like Summerall and Chapman identified him as a top priority target. And I think Chad Simmons and Corey Bender at On 3 already submitted an RPM for him. And so this is one that I'm going to be very excited to see if it pops, because I think with what we've shown we can do on the edge, with developing Jaden Woods in his first year, and with what we're going to potentially be losing, in Jaden Woods and some of those other guys that are going to be moving on, I think, your 2 most important positions really outside a quarterback are going to be your left tackle and your edge guys. And in this defense, if they're not going to, do a lot of pressure, bring a lot of blitzes, they're going to need edges that can get home. And so I think if you get guys like this that can set the tone on the edge, set that edge, whether it's a passing or a run scenario, that's huge. Yeah. And so, again, another kid that I don't think Florida was on his radar very much. And then he went to a junior day, met with the staff, and immediately bumped us up to the top of the list.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that it shows you. You get someone who is like a coach, like Coach Summerall, and it's that the energy is undeniable. When you get around them, people want to be around them, and I think that falls on everybody else. Like when you have that type of energy, and then all of a sudden it goes to your coaches, and then the coaches to the players, and then the players to the surrounding staff, and then the surrounding staff to the fan base, and all of a sudden it's like you got this monster in Gainesville, and that's anywhere. You do those type of things. We've talked about it. You win. Winning brings money. Money brings players, and it keeps going. It keeps in rotation. I absolutely love it. Like I just getting in people's, that's the crazy thing, right? You've brought this up a few times about like players that we weren't even mentioned. Like I don't even think that they even want anything to do with us. They get around Coach Summerall, they've already dropped the top 4, top 5, whatever the case may be. And then it's like they got to delete that post and repost it because they're like, oh, no, it's my top 6. And then it's like, oh, that Florida logo's in there.
Now I've seen more graphics from some of these guys that have a top 8, top 10, and we're not there. And then they go out and announce a top 6, a top 4, and then the Gator logo's there. And I'm kind of like, oh, where did this guy come from?
Dude.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, touching on recruiting and, boosters bringing money and you know how it all works. This is my favorite thing to do. Outside of talking about Gators football, second favorite thing. I'll say that. Second favorite thing to do is to clown on Florida State University. They are, go ahead.
FSU?
Yeah, FSU, Free Shoe University. They are doing
Free
everything
University.
they can. Yep, bro. They do it to themselves. They're doing everything they can to hide Norvell. They don't want that. I'm like, how bad does it have to get? And how moronic were you to go and give this man the extension that you gave him? I don't understand. I do not understand. And now you're canceling him being around boosters for what? I'm like, because these boosters have questions. Like, hey, we're buying some players.
Hey, they got the pitchforks out and the torches, and they're ready to go.
Yeah, they are ready to go. They want him out of there. But the problem is I've also seen that Florida State's the most in debt. So it's like, how are you going to get him out of there? And I love it. I thought I loved when Willie Taggart was there, and I'm like, oh man, I am so glad that they got Norvell. If there's one thing, if there is a athletic director that did a worse job than Scott Strickland, it's FSU's. He just absolutely crapped the bed and ruined them. So I love it. I absolutely love it. And again, it gives me a chance to rag on them.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, anytime your rival has to basically hide their coach, in the comfort and safety of the football complex there in Tallahassee, I'm all for it. So
yeah,
I wouldn't, if I was him, I wouldn't want to go on the booster tour either, because again, you're going to have a lot of angry fans, not only at him, but at the athletic director. And it's, again, he's going to have to pull off a miracle with a pretty much a brand new roster, a lot of question marks all over the field. If he even wants to have a chance at keeping his job, I think he's got to win 8-9 wins this season. And I mean, they actually have, especially for the ACC, they've got a pretty tough schedule there with SMU, Clemson, and then they got to play Bama again, this time in Bama. And I do not expect them to have the same result they had last year.
Yeah, I will be utterly shocked. I said this from the beginning. I don't care. FSU absolutely put up the biggest front at the beginning of the season. I'm telling you right now, I was standing in a gas station on our way up to the swamp, ready to watch game 1 there. And I sat there, I was on the phone, and I was telling my buddy, I said, listen, I'm like, do not be shocked if FSU upsets Bama. And I said, because they're going to run the same style that Vanderbilt did. The same style that Vanderbilt did last year, and they're not going to be ready for it. And I was like, and then FSU being at home, I think they're going to dig a little too deep of a ditch, and they're not going to be able to get out of it. and then they go play absolutely nobodies for 3 weeks in a row, and then the clown show started. And it's like, bro, you guys put up a front, and you can. And the best thing for them was Bama getting to the playoffs. And like, we beat Bama. It's like, okay, what are you, UCF now? And so it's just mind blowing to me. But I absolutely love every second of it. Every second of it. But moving forward, we got some Gators at the Combine. Well, you got some Gators at the Combine, they're turning some heads. And I want to point something out real quick before we touch on this. A couple of those Gators that are turning heads, when they came to the University of Florida, it wasn't the most hyped up thing. And there's a certain coach that everybody's like, well, he didn't get a lot of players. He didn't help him out a lot. And he turned those guys into something. And now look, these are Coach Chapman coached players that he had them for a couple of years, and now he's got them turning heads. Caleb Banks, Tyreek Sapp. Tyreek Sapp's out there. I mean, they might put him at receiver. He's out there with them one-handed snags. Dude, mind-blowing. But I love to see it. I think Caleb Banks he's going to make some big boy bread this offseason. Come April.
I saw a thing of his measurables as far as, his mix of 40 times, arm length, everything. I mean, he was like, I think his arm length was like number 1 or 2 all time for a defensive lineman in the combine. He was in like the 95th percentile for measurables, size, speed. I mean, another guy that I wish we would have had more consistently last year. Because I think, he's a game wrecker, but really excited to see what Tyreek Sapp and Caleb Banks do in the league next year. Because I think both of them are just physical freaks.
Dude, absolute physical freaks. It's funny because Stephen Harris shared Caleb Banks' 40-yard dash, right? And it got me thinking, I don't know why we don't do certain, like, running is fine if you want to see speed and different things of that nature. And I get why they do the 40-yard dash, but I'm like, I feel like your corners, your receivers, running back, sure, and then maybe linebackers, like safeties, DBs in general, have them run the 40. But your D-line, your O-line, I'm like, what? I don't understand what that matters. Like, make them run the 20 because I'm like, they're just getting off the line.
Well, yeah, I think for the D lineman and O lineman, I think the cone drill they run is more important because that's shorter distance, explosive acceleration.
Exactly.
And I mean, if you're going to play the game in pads and helmets, make them run the 40 in pads and helmets.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, bro. I'm like, I've never understood it fully. Like, I know there's a something behind it, but I'm like, some of these guys have run the 40 as fast as they can. I'm like, they end up being nobodies anyway.
They don't do anything. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, they roasted Tom Brady for his 40 and look, greatest football player of all time. It's crazy. But yeah, I love it. I love that they're out there turning heads. I think that you see players like that are able to get drafted, and especially if Caleb Banks can go first round, that gives Chapman another notch on his resume that he's like, hey, okay, I may be getting this style of player here, but you see this now. Now look what I can get. Now look what I can do.
And what he did the year before with Cam Jackson.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. I love it. I think it's great. I think that it's going to, and then along with winning, I love these players. I want to see them go succeed in the NFL, but I obviously care about the players that are on our team, and shout out to the Gators in the NFL, but I want their success to lead to more success for the actual University of Florida each year, because that's what I care about. But talking about Tyreek Sapp and touching on Tyreek Sapp, the NCAA came out with a rule, and they are banning the short shorts. They're doing away with it. So Tyreek Sapp, Oklahoma's kicker, you got to pull him down now. You
picked the perfect time to leave college because the short shorts are, I guess, no longer allowed. Neither are the exposed legs. So part of his game was going to be gone anyway. So he picked a good time to move on to the league.
Yeah, man. I didn't like it anyways. I think it's silly.
I think he
I
looks
guess
scary like that, but
I'd say Tyreek Saps is scary. The kicker, that was silly. Like, I'm
that
like,
one was
dude,
weird.
what are
The
you
little
doing?
scrawny legs, yeah, no.
Yeah, and I'm like, there's no way that makes you kick better. I can't
No.
believe that. Maybe it does, but
But
he
my
missed a
whole
few
thing,
kicks.
my whole thing with these rule changes is like we're fixing this. I mean, the targeting rule fix is great. That's needed.
Mhm.
But they're worried about the short shorts and the socks and the leg coverings. Fix the damn calendar. Like, we've got way bigger issues in college football than what the
Exposed play.
players wear and how they wear their clothes. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Dude, I couldn't agree more. Like, oh, well, we maintain that. We got that. You know, they're not showing their legs. They're not going to be able to joke about that on Facebook and Twitter and everything anymore. And it's like, but you're still getting roasted about the schedule. None of it makes sense. It doesn't make sense for
Tampering,
coaches.
schedule, portal. I mean, everything. It's a mess, and we're worrying about a tiny little detail. I mean, if Nick Saban took over as commissioner tomorrow, I think this is probably like number 20th, 30th on his list of things to do.
It's so
It
far
just
down.
makes no sense to me.
And I'm fine. Like, I've never even understood with the NFL, like, where so you can't see the legs. Why? It doesn't make sense. That's why I call it the no fun league. And it's like, so you're going to do it to the college kids who this is the last chance that they're going to get it unless Roger Goodell gets canned or he decides to just go away. And then who knows who the next commissioner is going to be. This is silly. Like, I'm like, there is bigger things that you need to address than players rolling their pants up. I'm a big advocate of, yes, you want to keep them safe and you're trying to protect the knees. I'm telling you right now, if you've ever put on a pair of football pants and you've had pads on them and you put that little tiny thin pad over your knee, it ain't doing anything.
It's not protecting your ACL.
No, your ACL is going to tear regardless if that thing is covering it or not. I don't care. If a 300-pound man hits you in your leg is going this way, while the rest of your leg is going this way. I don't care. This is stupid. But, hey, shout out to you, NCAA. You got it done. You got it
Priorities are in
done.
line, apparently.
You'll never get roasted about your players wearing it again. But that's all we got for you today. We appreciate you hanging out. There is a lot of you in here. This is
Awesome.
mind-blowing. So if you're in here, before we end it, smash the like button, share it out, subscribe. Now we're on the road to 2,000, just trying to elevate and get better. Again, I know I've said this before, but life gets busy, but we're back consistent. We're back with the, all the Gator news that we can talk about, and we're all going to just absolutely inch by to get to football season, what we're all waiting for. And yeah, we got the orange and blue game to look forward to. Myself, Kyle, we'll be up there. Come hang out with us. Come find us. We'd love to meet you guys. So yeah, smash the like button before you get out of here. Share it out. And as always, go Gators. And you know how we end it here. If you ain't a Gator, y'all know the rest. Go Gator.